The tragedy. The tragedy. Yes, indeed. Tragedy. The tragedy of Audrii Cunningham. I'll do this sober this time. How about that? Stone cold sober. Stone cold. Stone cold. So who's to blame for the death of Audrii Cunningham? Well, the little girl from Livingston, Texas. Yeah. Most of the 29 to 32 million documented or legal citizens of Texas are horrified, mortified, galvanized by this tragedy, right? Imagine if that was your daughter. Imagine if that happened to your kid, what you would do. And imagine how you would feel in that community. And Texans, Houston Texans, Texans in greater general. A lot of this world's problems is due to elites like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and the Bidens, the Clintons. That's where a lot of this world's woes come from. All right, these Jeffrey Epstein people, these elite people. They do not consider themselves to be Texan, right? They don't consider themselves to be Dallas or Houstonian or Austinite. They don't consider themselves to be Texan, true and true. They think of themselves as global citizens. Yeah, they think they're citizens of the world. They're higher than that. They're higher than us. They're not bound by any ethnicity or cultural history or common language. They're globalists. They're like, I'm multinational, I'm multi-worldwide, I'm so great. And their money and their elite wealth gives them the power to elevate their status in their mind. They're not citizens of the United States of America. They're not citizens of Alabama. They're not from Tennessee. They're globalists. They're higher than that. They're better than us. See what I'm saying? So, now this has been the liberal mindset for a long time. They're better because they learned French and they went to France. They're better because they're more cultured. Yeah. They're more traveled around the world. They're so smart. They're so much better, these elites, than us, John Kerry and the elites of the Heinz Ketchup Fortune and Skull and Bones, 322. They went to Yale and Harvard and Ivy League schools. They're so much better than us, right? Every day they're like, we're so much better than you deplorables, you ultra, maga, mega, super duper Power Ranger, Ninja Turtles, Transformers. Oh, we're so much better than you. Yeah, that's what they do every day. They hit you on the head with it every day, like George Carlin. Every day, you're not as good as us. You're not as wealthy as us. You're not as attractive as us. Look at our lives. We're so much better than you, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Remember to get your booster from Pfizer. Get your new shot for the Chinese COVID plague. Yeah. Oh, don't you want to be a winner and bang blonde pussy too, like me? Oh, if you can be banging pussy like me and banking dividends if you just take this shot in your arm. If you people just sell your soul to Satan, your life will be so much easier. Yes, yes, yes. Indeed, it would be. How easy would your life be if you just sold your soul to the devil? You would have everything you ever dreamed of. You'd have butt naked women everywhere. You'd have big houses, big bank accounts. All your problems would just go away. Like that with Lucifer. Lucifer is the Lord of this world. You'll do fine if you just toe the line. Yeah. Do what we want you to do. You'll be okay. Just listen to the instructions from the media and from Lucifer. Take the things, do what we say, inject stuff in your body, link yourself to computers, get the Neuralink, get the 666. We want you to do that. Come on, just do what we tell you to do. Everything will be fine. You know? So, everything will be honky-dory, peachy keen, okie dokie. All that. All right, we have a pretty good soapage. We have some pretty excellent soapage over here. Check out that. It almost looks like a bikini atoll. If you're being imaginative with the water and imagining that it's an island. Did people out there forget their imaginations? Probably. They probably became robots or something. These stale, conformist robots. Yeah. It's a shame that society has become so stupid and stale and monotonous and boring. So much so. So vanilla. So bland. So pathetic. So cowardly. Who's to blame for the death of Audrii Cunningham, the little blonde girl, right, from Livingston, Texas, Lake Livingston? All right. So a lot of hillbillies move out to the country by the lake. All right. They're like, I'm at the lake. So a lot of hillbillies from Texas, they move out to the lake, whether it's in Missouri, whether it's in Texas. I'm at the lake. I'm a hillbilly. I made it, man. See, I have my house or my trailer next to the body of water. That means I'm a success, you see. That's what that means. Now, do you have to be wealthy to live by the water? You got to have a way in, right? You got to have a way in. So, okay, maybe my Uncle Peter leaves me a property by the lake, all right? And then I'm like, oh, wow, Uncle Peter died. Oh, that's sad. But he left me a property by the lake. Lake Limestone, Lake Livingston, Lake Conroe, Table Rock Lake, Branson, Missouri, whatever. But now I got a house or maybe they marry into it, or they have relatives or something. Most of them are not that they work so hard that they went to the lake. I mean, some have been working hard their entire lives for the money, right? They work hard for the money, like they work hard for the money. But a lot of them are like inheritors, right? Because a lot of these people are by the lake. A lot of these people went to Yale because they had a trust fund. Let's be honest. They didn't work 3 jobs or something to get to Yale or Harvard. They had a trust fund already. But let's be honest, folks. So a lot of these people that live by the lake, their dad already bought a house, or their mom bought a retirement property, or their grandma or their grandpa or something. They inherited their stuff. So nothing wrong with getting something passed down to you by your elders. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong. I'm not saying it happens all the time. Well, maybe you have to be kind of loaded or get an inheritance if you want to live on Lake Conroe. You want to live on Lake Tahoe. You want to live on Lake, there's lakeside, waterside property and beachfront property, which is more expensive than others. Am I right? Obviously. I mean, if you want to live in Martha's Vineyard or Santa Barbara, you got to have some fucking dough. Or you got to be loaded. You got to have some fucking cheddar bread. Am I right? Gotta have some cheddar. Nice. I like it. Gotta have money, money, money. Who wants money? Mm-hmm. Who wants money? You gotta have the dough to live by the lake. Or you gotta have a dad that died and left you in the will. Okay? That's the only options. You either got the fucking bread, you buy a house by the ocean, Big Sur, or Martha's Vineyard, Kenny Buckport, or you don't have any dough, and Uncle Bob, he leaves you something after he croaks. He eats the dust. Magic love. Yeah, you're not scared of mine. Bring your wolf power. The moon is coming in full. Once the full moon comes in 2024, the apocalypse begins. It's a sign. So, this much closer. So if you had a daughter, you put your penis into a vagina, right? So you spread your sperm into the egg, and you created a life. So you had children, you reproduced, right? You did your service to the human race. Oh, what do they call it? You did your duty, right? You did your duty. You did your duty. Now, people do this for selfish reasons, vain reasons. They reproduce because of natural reasons, the natural fact of wanting to fuck, but also they want their seed to go on for hundreds of. They want to have de facto immortality. It's not the same thing as real immortality. It's de facto. There's no guarantee that your family line or name is going to spread for hundreds of years. No one really has that guaranteed in writing, but you could. It's an attempt at de facto immortality. It is not, however, true immortality. An attempt at mortality is Mr. Jones, and he has 5 kids, right? He gets married to a girl, has 5 kids. Mr. Jones is thinking, man, if I can just get these Joneses, if I can just get them to eternity, if I can just get them living and working and growing and building their own families, and if I could just pass down the success to them, then maybe there'll be Joneses and Joneses in the That's what's up. The dog's like, the guy went out of his rage mode. She's like, oh man, yeah. The thyroid medication, it gives you less cravings for food. It also gives you it has a side effect, gives you big ass fucking dick hard-ons, like the most epic hard-ons that without Viagra. It gives you like really hardcore testosterone sex drive. It gets you like a really almost it's on the verge of like violence. It's almost like it's very powerful. So, although I'd rather not suffer from Hashimoto's syndrome with hypothyroidism, the thyroid pill is doing wonders in the testosterone in the aggression area. Maybe it's doing its job a little bit too extreme, I think, but a little bit too much. Too many boners, too much aggression, too much territorial hostility. A little bit, yeah, a little bit flyish, a little bit like when Jeff Goldblum gets bit with the. But I mean, in terms of like sex drive, you could fuck for hours, and then after you fucked and blew a load, you could like reload and just go back to it. You could go back to the orgasms and the pleasures and things. You could just increase it, yeah. But it is, kind of you have to manage it well, and otherwise, chaos would ensue. Uh, so you have to make sure you don't get in trouble with the law or anything. You have to make sure that you're like, you have to walk on kind of eggshells because you have to be worried about when is it going to explode. When are you going to go Hulk? When are you going to go rage and just start fucking up and end up in jail or something, So you just have to maintain it, really. You really have to watch it. You really have to do your blood work, and you really have to watch it that it doesn't go into Hulk or Hobgoblin, Spider-Man mode, and you go into a rage virus, and so you have to be careful. But otherwise, if you're a responsible enough citizen, then everything's going to be cool. But if you lose it, you fuck up, then not so much. But that's Bella Boot. Hey, we're getting French fries, and we're getting Long John Silver's. Even though, Long John Silver's is not what it used to be in the 1980s or 1990s, but we're getting Long John Silver's. So who's to blame for the death of Audrii Cunningham? So you can blame the state, right? The Livingston police force, the FBI. You could blame the system, law enforcement, the U.S. Marshals. You can blame whoever you want to, because at the end of the day, this guy, this neo-Nazi McDookie or McDougal, I guess he's he's a white supremacist or something. I mean, he had a tattoo of like the swastika on his, on his right arm, on his shoulder, and so there's neo-Nazi white supremacy activity going on in Texas. I've told people about this for a long time. There are these certain people, certain white trash. There are these certain people in these podunk places out in the trailer. I went out there to Dayton and to Liberty County, and I was like, what the fuck? There's too many fucking Nazis out here. There's way too much swastikas, okay? It's kind of crazy. It's not everywhere. It's not like you went into the neo-Nazi empire, okay? But it's in little like, it's like cancer lesions. It's like this ideological rot. It's disgusting. So it's abhorrent is what it is. It's terrible. And, it's like gang activity or the triads or the Mexican drug cartels. It's just trash. No Country for Old Men. It's just garbage. And so, I mean, unfortunately, they're out there. And usually it's in these isolated pockets they have to hide. Usually they're not. I mean, that's rare that they put the Nazi flag all over their trailer, like in Liberty when I went back home to visit my relatives. It's rare that they're going to paint their truck in Nazi flags and they're going to fly it like it's the neo-Nazi, that it's Adolf Hitler neo-empire or something. Neo-empire, if you will. No, it's neo, so it's neo-empire, right? So it's rare that you have somebody just proudly like, I'm a Nazi, Heil Hitler and Heil der Führer. It's very rare to see that in, the 2020s, because it's not the 1930s or the 1940s anymore. the Axis powers were defeated in World War II. Well, for a reason. So most of their acolytes are dead, but there might be new acolytes. There might be new neo-Nazis. There might be a new power, a new organization, right? You have Aryan gangs and stuff like that. So they're out there, all right? And especially prevalent in the American prison system, in the penitentiaries. If you're a white boy, the Aryan Brotherhood tries to recruit you if you ever go to the pen. Now, I'd rather fight the motherfuckers than fucking have to, I'd rather start jacking motherfuckers. I'd be like Rorschach. I'd be like pouring pot oil on niggas' faces and shit. I'd be fucking up people. But that's just me. I'd just start fucking up people. So I would build my body so much that I could just like fuck up anybody. And I'd learn how to fight. And I'd just I'd start breaking people's jaws. I'd start breaking their necks. I'd start snapping their necks. I'd fuck up people so hard if I was in the pen. But some people they join the gang and they're just like, well, maybe I'll have less violence if I play it cool, if I join the gang, if I join the clique, then maybe I won't get my ass beat all the time. Okay. But I'd be the nigga busting trays on motherfuckers' heads if I was in jail, if I was in the penitentiary. But some people say this is a prison planet anyway. You're Alex Jones. You're already part of the prison planet. You're already a prisoner. You're just an open air prisoner with a view. A view of this collapsing, failing world. You get a bird's eye. You get if you live in America, you get a front row seat to the freak show. Like George Carlin used to say. If you're born and live in America, you get a front row seat to the circus. So, yeah, that's true. Some of George Carlin's last stand-up performances, videos are amazing because it's all true. It's everything he said is coming true. Almost everything he said. Almost everything he contemplated about society and humanity is coming true. Almost every single thing that he predicted or said. Almost all of it is coming true, which is uncanny. It's almost unheard of that he was almost like the Nostradamus of the 20th century. He's like, well, no, actually he's better than Nostradamus. He's better than any seer. He's better than any psychic. He's better, I don't know if he's better than Aristotle or Plato, but he's definitely that guy. He's not just a comedian. He was a social scientist. He was a philosopher, much like Bill Hicks. So in that vein, the Confucius of our era. I mean, really. So there's all these neo-Nazi pockets out there. They're usually centered around gangs, groups, individuals. Most of these gangs are behind bars, but there are some people that are out of jail, out of the pen, and they form these gangs. And occasionally you might find a green room. You might find a group of them together where they all like congregate. And you might find these, they're mostly sons to bastard sons or bastard whore mothers or drugs, meth. They're usually white trash, right? So they usually have limited economic or educational opportunities. All right. So we can already kind of like understand like what the profile that we're dealing with here, and understand how you can understand how these people are created. They're lost. They're like lost little puppies in this world, and they find some guy who's like Charlie Manson or John Wayne Gacy or Jim Jones, and they're like, "Hey, come over here. Yeah, just be a Nazi." And they're like, "Oh, daddy." And so they get drawn into it because they're weak-minded. If you have enough weak-minded people, you can rule them just like Adolf Hitler. That could happen anytime, even today. Especially today, because you can communicate, and the technology is even better to make lies and deceit. So it's even easier for Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin and Mao Zedong to come into power today than it was when they did come to power. It's easier today. So that's a hardcore reality that a lot of people don't want to face, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, humans don't act that way. They can never become Nazis." I'm like, they can become Nazis pretty easily. You don't have to watch a Dr. Jordan Peterson Nazi German history lecture to understand that. So this ideology is cancerous. It's it's leprous. It's evil, and it's old now, and and it's dying. It's hard to find Nazi recruits. It's hard to find neo-Nazis. It's hard to create them. It's hard to get them together. It's hard to make white supremacy work. You know what I mean? So it's like gays. It's like LGBTQ. It's hard to make a trans community because there's so few of them. It's easy to make a Jewish community because Jewish people reproduce, and they reproduce a lot, and they're good with money, without being stereotypical. But it's easier to be a Jew than it is to be a fag, or a gay, or a tranny, or a neo-Nazi, because they're just not in demand. They're not favored. They can't reproduce fast enough to spread their ideology. So it's easy to spread the ideology, the religion of Islam, or Judaism, or Christianity, because these people have a lot of fucking kids, because they reproduce like mad, like rabbits. Catholic people, they reproduce in Latin America. They reproduce like crazy. They don't even care if they can pay for their sixth child. They just do it anyway. Most people are scared of financial repercussions if they have 5 kids. Some people, they don't have that problem. They're just like, hey, it's life is for having children. So they're like the Duggars, and they have 19 and counting. They don't give a fuck if they can pay for it or not. I mean, of course they're going to be like, how are we going to eat this week? I guess we'll just eat beans. And they manage somehow, right? They get a few jobs, or they get a reality show, or whatever. So they manage somehow. Yeah, even if they got to make a lot of gruel and goulash and get by. Yeah, they do what they can. They make a lot of rice and beans and get some discount chicken or something. They survive somehow, right? So then, Audrii Cunningham, her father looks like he has a job, right? At some, technical blue collar kind of deal. He works at the factory 9 to 5, 5 days a week. So he can come home to the trailer to his baby mama. Yeah. Going home to your baby mama, huh? Bringing home the bacon for your baby mama. Just like a good insect in the beehive should. Just like any good drone slave should do. Go bring home that bacon for the sugar mama, for the baby mama. And then, he has a little girl, Audrii Cunningham, right? With his baby sugar mama, his baby mama, his, honey boo-boo, his boo-boo. Yeah. Nice. So you're living the American dream, baby. And then his family lives in the area. Probably they help them get houses and, network. They're little, hey, we're rednecks and we live by the lake. Woo, we made it. Yeah. We're big success. Mark Zuckerberg of the beast and the Antichrist and Bill Gates of hell and stuff. They got $160 billion. But damn, man, we live by the lake, man. Me and my baby mama. And we got my grandpa, we got papa, and we got Uncle Ed, and we got it going on out here. We got Cousin Teddy and Cousin Eddie, and we got Ernest, and we got Goober, Andy Griffith, and we're doing good out here, man. We're living the dream out. NASCAR, beer, tequila, Jack Daniels. It's like a King of the Hill episode or something, right? So it's all good. They're barbecuing and listening to the country music, maybe a little metal. Maybe they're neo-Nazis, so they listen to dark anti-minority, white power music or something, Listen to some kind of Pantera, but for white supremacists. All right. They listen to heavy metal music because they're such badasses. They're such fucking badasses. They're so hardcore. Yeah. They're such fucking badasses. Yeah. Sure. Okay. I mean, in their minds, a lot of people are badasses. They have delusions of grandeur. They have fantasies. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. They think they're smarter than they actually are. So they're like, oh, I'm so smart. I can do so much. Whoa. It's Dunning-Kruger. Yeah. Everybody thinks they're smart. That's what they don't really like getting around a real savant like me, because then they feel dumb. And they're like, oh, I make people feel bad because I'm very smart. So it kind of pisses off a lot of people. It's more alienating than it is like. It's actually more positive, but it depends on who you're around, right? Whether they're like, oh, well, I got a degree saying I'm smart. The government certified me as part of Mensa. We're smarty smart. Yeah. Just because you went to an Ivy League school it means you're better educated. It does not mean you're more intelligent, though. So there is a difference. But that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're not talking about the IQs of people that didn't go to PhD programs and those that did. All right. That's a different topic altogether. That's an entirely different topic. So, this guy got his baby mama. He has Audrii Cunningham, and gets the trailer. His papa lives there. His me mama, and they're living by Lake Livingston. They're living the American dream, man. Working 9 to 5 at the factory, clocking in and clocking out, bringing home that bacon for baby mama and little kitty in tow. Yeah. So here comes Mick Dookie, a guy with known mental illness, known violence issues, known. In 2010, he took off a girl's panties and said, oh, it was an accident. And the cops, the Livingston police, or where he's from, Houston or Austin or whoever, they didn't charge him with child pedophilia, child sexual misconduct. So he wasn't put on a sexual misconduct list. Why? Who was protecting him and why? And why did the law enforcement, why did they drop the ball on this? Or why did the family drop the ball? Who dropped the ball on this? Taking off the little girl's panties and having pee-pee playtime with a full-grown ass man, a neo-Nazi? This should have never happened or been allowed. So, some of the biggest fucking creeps in the whole jungle, let these guys. So, he wasn't put on a sexual offender list, a sexual offender registry. So he got off for that, taking off the girl's panties and playing hide the wiener or find the tuna or whatever they're doing. Whatever he was doing with that girl, that first girl. So somehow he gets out, and then he goes down for meth and other neo-Nazi violence, assault, etc., etc. Yada yada yada. So he gets a kind of a rap sheet. Yeah, remember that time you took off that girl's pants and her panties in the bed, but you said it was an accident? You thought it was. He made up some lame excuse, like, it's like, I thought it was, what did he say? He said, I thought it was my wife. Yeah, you thought it was your wife. You're like, It's almost like Joe Biden and the Democrats like explaining their policies. It's like I can't believe this load of shit. I mean, this is ridiculous shit. So it's just not. It's not cutting the. It's not passing the litmus test. It's not cutting the mustard. It's not passing the bar. It's not. It's not doing any of that. It's not making any sense. It's like, oh, I thought it was my wife. I had a little bit too much puffs and on the J on the kind bud, and the meth was wearing off, and you know how it is when you're coming down off meth and the Jack Daniels is wearing off, and you're coming into that weird place called sobriety, and you're like, oh, where am I at? Sometimes you think it's your wife when it's a little girl that's like 8 years old. I know you understand. Of course, society understands me, right? McDougal, yeah. So somehow he's not put on a sexual offender. I don't know who dropped the ball, whether it was the police, the community. Probably there's a community of neo-Nazis that are protecting him. Okay, they're trying to protect him. They're a really tight cult, aren't they? Yeah, neo-Nazis. Well, you don't have to watch Green Room to understand that they're a really tight knit unit, aren't they? Yeah, they kind of protect their own. Well, he's a white guy. Yeah, well, let me tell you what Caucasian means to me. It means we stick together, us blancos, us gringos, like peas in a pod. We don't let no whitey left behind is our motto. So we protect them. Biden mulling. Why does he wear the sweater? I guess he's trying to be like, hey, I'm like one of you. I'm one of you blokes out there. That's where he puts on the sweater instead of the suit sometimes. Plus, it's more comfortable to wear, right? The sweater. I mean, in winter, at least. God forbid when he starts putting on spring and summer clothes. You get to see his... Joe Biden's going to get on the bicycle and bust his ass on the bike trail. Hey, I still got it, baby. Yeah. You want to go watch some John Wayne movies? Hey, if you're real good, we'll go watch Clark Gable movies. And we'll have some ice cream, okay? Listen to Grampy. I'll set you up. Maybe if you're really good, boy, we can read some newspapers from the 1960s. If you're a real good boy. We can watch that movie with John Wayne. You dog-faced pony soldier? Come on, man. Come with Grandpa. I'll show you the really good stuff. The John Wayne. We can watch the Duke's entire repertoire, even the Alamo, baby. Directed by John Wayne too. So, I just want to go back to that magical post-war baby booming, nut busting period of the 1950s in American history. Hell yeah, bet your ass. Everything was authentic back then. The pussy, the girls, the money, everything, the gold. It was all top notch back then. The movies, the newspapers, put your record player on at night, baby. Put in your records and your Victrola. Man, you live in the American dream. Flip on your radio. Come on, man. Don't you want to go back to the great old days? What's wrong with y'all? The world according to Joe Biden, okay? So, a world that's back in the 20th century, not the 21st. And a world that's way back in the 20th century. So much the leaders of the world are 70, 80 years old. And some of these guys, like Xi Jinping and Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin, they're so old that they want to recreate the Cold War. My God. Why would you want to recreate the fucking Cold War? That's outrageous. I mean, I guess for the military, industrial, pharmaceutical, technological, media, propaganda complex, I suppose. I guess it makes money to have endless wars, right? You get to sell a lot of arms. Yeah. You lose a lot of arms, but you sell a lot of arms. It's the war industry, the War Department. They changed the War Department back in the day to the Defense Department, to make it sound nice. Oh, it's defense. No, we don't attack people. We defend our people. Yeah, we don't hunt people down. No, we don't do that. We don't murder people. No, we defend ourselves, right? No. Hey, guys, no fighting in the war room. Dr. Strangelove. Or How I Learned to Live with the Bomb and I'm Loving It. Whatever the subtitle is. So these neo-Nazis, they protect this guy or something. Or somehow he's not put on the sex offender registry. And then McDougal, somehow he's protected by somebody, right? Somebody covers his ass. And so he's a roommate of the father of Audrii Cunningham. And he lives in a trailer in the back of his, Papa's place? Some kind of arrangement like that. Somehow the mother and the father are really cool with this sex offender guy who has a penchant for taking off the clothes of little girls, taking their little girl to school. Somehow they're real tight. They're real tight. Is that neo-Nazism? Are they hoping to regain the power of the Führer? They're hoping Adolf Hitler rises from his grave and says, let's start the new order. I don't know what their actual plan is, but they're so close they will let their daughter be molested and in the care of somebody who's obviously mentally unstable and a violent firecracker, a sex offender. Somehow they're cool letting this guy live with them, live in the back in the trailer. This guy's nothing but fucking trouble. This guy's nothing but pain and heartache. But somehow this guy or these parents are tight. You know, it really doesn't make any sense. But she's dead now, and I honestly would charge the parents for criminal negligence if I was a prosecutor. But they're not going to do it because they're just going to blame it all on the guy, but not the people that allowed him to exist or to thrive.